All right. Hi, this is a video about how you are going to take notes in Mrs. Christie's classroom. Um, Due to, COVID 2 years ago now and all of last year, I found that my students actually took much better notes if they were done outside of the classroom on their own time. So you're going to be taking notes digitally, remotely, on your own time. So what happens? So here's the why. When you can take notes on your own, at your own pace, I have students who like to pause a lot. You can pause the video. You can do these anytime, on your own time, sitting in your bed, eating a sandwich, drinking a cup of coffee, whatever you want to do. I don't really care. But you can pause, you can rewind, you can do your own thing. That the notes that my students took were much, much better. The quality was so much more improved. When I do these in the classroom, I tend to go pretty quickly, and if students fell behind, then they didn't even try to catch up, and then their notes were not complete. So if you do them at your own pace and you can pause, then things go much better. Also, due to the attendance because of COVID, and now we have something called Early Placement Plus, where students are sometimes going out to work and not doing academics in the classroom. If you know anything about that, then those students also have access to all of the information digitally and remotely. So, also, because of COVID, I don't know if it's going to be gone next year or, so attendance issues, long absences outside of the classroom. This makes these two issues are addressed a lot better when everything is digital. So we're going to be doing these things digitally. So you're going to be taking notes off of your laptop or your phone, either one, and then you're going to be submitting them into Google Classroom for a grade. We'll talk about how they're going to get graded in a little while, but I have a very, very specific way that I want you to do notes. So, a couple of important things. I do want you to have a specific, dedicated spiral notebook for math notes only. So, no homeworks to go in there. It's not for homework. It's just for notes, only notes. You're going to need another one for homework, so you'll want to get two for class, okay? But a specific dedicated spiral notebook for math notes only. You should also get yourself some colored pens and highlighters. They will come in super handy. I change colors a lot. You can already tell. This is only 2 minutes long, and I've already put 3 or 4 colors in here. But I change colors a lot when I'm doing a math process, and you may want to do the same thing. You may want to highlight some things, that kind of thing. So we want to make sure that that's happening. Also, if you're doing notes in the classroom, you will want to have a set of headphones with you. It is imperative that your sound is on when you listen to these things, that you hear me walking through the steps, that you hear what I'm saying as I go through. If you just watch me writing on the screen and taking the notes and you try to take shortcuts, that does not work. Believe me, it does not work. You will get frustrated. You won't know what's happening. The process is meant to work with you listening to the notes, you taking the notes, and then asking questions afterwards. So if you're listening to these in the classroom, you're going to want to make sure that you have headphones with you so that you can listen to these with the sound on. I think that's it in terms of what you're actually going to need. You'll need your phone to take pictures and submit into Google Classroom. And then that's about it. Okay, so the other thing I want to make sure that you do, because you're doing these on your own, it does take away the element of kids in the class saying, hey, wait, hold on, I didn't know what you were doing there. So we don't have that question and answer time. So I want to make sure that you are advocating for yourself. Okay. If you don't understand something that I did in the notes, please come and talk to me. Come and say, hey, I didn't understand this one example that you did. Could you please walk me through it step by step? Or I'm really confused about this thing that you did. Let's go through that. So my role in the actual classroom is to help you understand what's going on. It's not to deliver content. That's a waste of my time and yours. I can deliver content at any time. It's to help you understand and be your tutor. That's my job in the classroom. So please, if I don't know that you need help though, unless you ask. So I need you to advocate for yourself. This is huge in my room, especially those of you going on to college. It's super, super important that you start to do that here so that you're comfortable doing it when you get into college. Okay? All right, so here's how this is going to work. You're going to have a calendar for the entire year. I may or may not have handed it out already by the time we get to this point. And on that calendar in orange, you will see something called a note day in class. Okay, that day, literally, you will have time in class to listen to a note video. Okay, so you will have time to listen to a note video and take notes. Okay, that video will be due the next day, but we'll talk about ways that you have to get extra credit. So you can earn extra credit for every single note video. All right, so let's talk about how you're going to take these notes, and then we'll talk about how we're going to put them in points. Okay, so I'm going to flip to a new page, and I'm going to put some lines on the page. And let's say that you have holes on this page. This is the right-hand side of a notebook, so you have holes here and the line that goes down this side of the page. So you're taking notes kind of in this part of the page, right? All right, so at the top of your notes, I want to make sure your name is on them. I know that they will be submitted into Google Classroom, but still, I want to see your name and a video number. And then over on this side, the chapter and section. So chapter and section. So you might have, chapter 2, section 4. Now, down in, if you're on this page, holes on the left-hand side, on the bottom right-hand corner of the page, I want you to put a little half a box down there and put 2.4, if that's the page that we're doing. So as you flip through your notebook, you can very easily in the bottom corner see what chapter and section we're working on. Okay. If this is not on every single page, you will have points taken off of your notes when you take them. Okay. Period. End of story. Points will be deducted. Now, if you're on the back side of the page, that means that you have your lines, you're on the back side of the page, so the holes are now over here. The line is down this side of the page. You're taking the notes in this area. Now, I want you to make sure your little half box is on the left-hand corner, so it's always on the outer corner of the page when you do this. and you'd put your chapter and section number here. Okay, so if we were to look at these pages back to back, let's go like this. Okay, here's a notebook. I'm going to draw a line down the middle. Here's the spiral. Right. I'm super not artistic. You will find this out about me as we go. Here's the spiral. So this would be the holes. Oh, see, not artistic. That should be in the middle. Okay. There's the holes. Here's the margin. Here's the top line. Here's the top line. So you're taking notes in here, taking notes in here. All right, the outer corner. So this one would have your 2.4, and the outer corner, this one would have the 2.4. Okay? So again, we can flip through really quickly and see exactly what chapter and section we're talking about. All right, so after you take your notes, you are going to take pictures of those notes and submit into Google Classroom. So when you're done taking them, you're going to take pictures of the notes and submit into Google Classroom. And the only real comment I have there is to make sure that the lighting is okay. You know, if you're doing these in your bedroom, make sure that the light's good enough that I can actually read them. And if you use pencil when you take notes, make sure that the pencil is dark enough that I can read them. I did have a little bit of trouble with that. You know, I am over 50 and I wear glasses, so my eyes are not fantastic. So if you could do those two things, so make sure the lighting is okay and that you use a dark enough, whoops, I don't know what that's for, dark enough, you know, oh my gosh. Utensil when you take your notes, okay? So those are the two big points there. All right, so let's talk about how we're going to score these things, and then we'll be done. All right, so a new page, scoring your notes. Okay, they will be out of 25 points. All the time. All right, they will always be out of 25. Oh. My pen is misfiring here. They will always be out of 25. But there's a number of things that can happen that can affect those 25 points. Okay, so let's say, just for example, let's say our note day is on a Tuesday in class, okay? And you'll know that because you'll have a calendar and you'll be able to see when they are. I'll remind you, okay? But let's say the note day is on a Tuesday. Always, for you to get full credit, they will be due, so full credit, your 25 points, they would be due the next day, the next school day. And I'll say that because sometimes you might have notes that we do on a Friday, which means they'd be due on Monday. The next school day at 8 a.m. in Google Classroom. Now, Google Classroom time states and stamps all of the things that you turn in. So I know if they're turned in at 7:59 or 8:01, and at 8:01 they are late. So make sure that you guys get these things turned in on time, okay? So if a note day is on a Tuesday, these would be due for full credit, 25 out of 25, on Wednesday at 8 a.m. That would be the next school day is when those things would be turned in, okay? I don't know what this thing is, so no, go away. Okay, so 8 a.m. for full credit. However, there's a way for you to get extra credit every single time we do notes. you can earn 30 out of 25. And believe me, it doesn't seem like much, but it racks up pretty quickly if you earn these. If you have these turned in to Google Classroom by 8 a.m. on the note day in class, so in this case that I'm talking about, that would be the Tuesday, you will earn the 30 out of 25. Okay, now what that means, other kids would be in class doing notes that day. You can utilize that as a study hall for yourself, or you can get started on the homework assignment that will go with those notes. You can use that for your own time as long as you are not being disruptive. I don't mind how you use that time. You're ahead. You can use it however you like, as long as you're like being quiet, doing things that you need. If you need time for another class, you need to study, do homework, whatever. That's up to you. Manage your time correctly like an adult, and I'm good with that. Okay. There are two things that can happen for late credit. So late partial credit. You get a 20 out of, oh gosh. You get a 20 out of 25. Let me erase that little thing. 20 out of 25, which by the way is an 80%. If turned in after 8 a.m. on the due date, until 11:59 p.m. on Sunday of the week it's due. So if it's due on a Wednesday, you have until Sunday at 11:59 p.m. to get it turned in for 20 out of 25, 80% of your credit. Okay. The next thing that could happen is you can get a 15 out of 25. So 15 out of 25 if turned in the week after the notes are due. That's a 60%, by the way. And then anytime after that, you can turn them in, but the most points you can get is a 12.5. %50 credit. $12.5 out of 25. Okay, so do this. Extra credit is always the best thing to do. Turn those notes in early and get them done. You can do them anytime. You don't have to do them in order. You can do all the notes for the chapter at the beginning of the chapter and then just work your way through the homework. That is what I would recommend anyway. And then go from there. But this will also be laid out in your classroom management plan. So extra credit, they have to be turned in by 8 a.m. on the note day that we're doing them in class. That gives you class time to start homework or gives you a free day that day. Full credit, they're turned in by 8 a.m. the day after the note day. So that means you did them in class and they're turned in by 8 a.m. the next day. Late credit, 20 out of 25. Turn them in by Sunday of the week in which they were due. 15 out of 25, 60%, if turned in the week after the notes are due. And anytime after that, you get a 12.5 out of 25. Okay? I think we covered everything. So that should cover it. If you have any questions, please let me know. We'll talk about how to get things turned in Google Classroom and how to get signed up and get things done in Varsity, which is where the homework's going to be, in another video. Toodaloo.